Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's Windward Buddhist Temple service. My name is Lisa Fujikawa, and I'll be your MC for today. Today's service honors Eshinni, Shinran Shonin's wife, and also his daughter, Kakushinni. Thank you to Reverend Furusawa for officiating today's service, and also to Barbara Brennan for coming to be today's speaker. We will begin with the ringing of the temple bell, or Kansho, that signifies the beginning of a temple service. It is a deep and sacred ritual steeped in ancient tradition. It is the calling of the people to come together to listen to the Dharma, or the teachings. The temple bell represents the gratitude and deep appreciation of the members, friends, and guests of the Windward Buddhist Temple. Please sit quietly in your seats. If you are able, please rise for the meditation, followed by the chanting of the Vandana Ti-Sarana by the congregation in Pali and English, found in the red Jodo Shinshu service book on page 7. Please be seated. Today's sutra is 12 Homages, found in the Jodo Shinshu Service Book on page 120.
Are you ready? Yes. Okay. Gazemen oba in op tu amida daribir in Buddha's wonder spirit bodhisattvas gather round golden pond like the mountain king set first like the elephant's face Buddha's eyes like the blue lotus thus I bow to Amida Buddha's form run like the moon bright like thousand suns and moons Buddha's voice like the nightingale thus I bow to Amida Buddha's figure on cannons from Adon with wondrous features Buddha subdue evilness thus I bow to Amida beyond compare Amida's pure virtues shining clear like space all benefit from Buddha thus I bow to Amida bodhisattvas all inner malas to praise Amida primal vow made for our sake thus I bow to Amida golden ponds where lotus bloom the throne of goodness Buddha lives like the mountain king thus I bow to Amida bodhisattvas come upward attaining true happiness they revere the Buddha's face thus I bow to Amida all life changes like the dew we We have no permanent self. Buddha teaches this law to all. Thus I bow to Amida. No evil in the Pure, and no fear of evil paths. Faithful hearts are Buddha. Thus I bow to Amida, saving us through many ways. No tempers, no evil friends. Birth leads to enlightenment. Thus I bow to Amida. Amida, thus I have praised. Virtues boundless like the sea. These virtues shared with others, for birth into the pure. Namandabu, 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 Namandabu. The virtue of Amida's vow is shared equally by all. Together attaining awakened mind, we are born in the land of peace. Namandabu, 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 Namandabu.
If you are able, please rise for the recitation of the Golden Chain of Love, which can be found in the Jodo Shinshu Service Book on page 126. I am a link in Amida's
golden chain of love that stretches around the world. I must keep my link bright and strong.
I will try to be kind and gentle to every living thing and protect all the weaker than myself. I will try to think pure and beautiful thoughts, to say pure and beautiful words, and to do pure and beautiful deeds, knowing that on what I do now depends not only my happiness or happiness, but also that of others. May everything in Amida's golden chain of love be bright and strong, and may we all attain perfect peace. Namaste. Please remain standing for the Gatha Gentle Hands found in the Purple Praises of the Buddha book on pages 62 and 63. We will sing the song twice because there's only one verse. seated. I'm happy to welcome back Barbara Brennan as our guest speaker today. Barbara?
Good morning, everyone. Please join me in Kansho. As the sun shines upon the earth, awakening into growth the seeds that lie dormant in the soil, may the light of wisdom shine into our minds and truly awaken us to our ignorance, and by this insight, stir us to strive for a life of deeper understanding and enlightenment. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo. It's really nice to be here. There's so many familiar faces, and then there's some new faces, and I'm sorry I don't remember everybody's name, so I'm so glad you wear name tags. Today is the Eshinni Kakushinni special service. You know, in 1921, so very long ago, I think that was a few years after my mother was born, there were some special letters found in the headquarters archives in Kyoto. And these are 10 letters that Eshinni wrote to Kakushinni, and because of that, we are now able to know more about Shinran as well as Eshinni and Kakushinni. In her book, Life of Eshinni, wife of Shinran Shonin, Yoshiko Otani, the wife of a former Monshu, writes that she was born in Echigo, which is on the seaside of Japan. She married Shinran, then lived in Kanto for 20 years, then in Kyoto for 20 years. Eshinni eventually returned to her native Echigo, where she died at the age of about 89. It was during this time she wrote the letters to Kakushinni. Lady Otani describes Eshinni as having a bright mind and strong, vigorous personality, giving her the mindset to live in faraway places, helping her husband and raising her many children. Thanks to Eshinni's letters, we know that the Nembutsu guided the life of a real living person with daily cares such as wondering about her children and grandchildren, keeping the family and servants fed, mending clothes. She asked Kakushinni once to please send her some needles. And she also lived apart from her husband, Shinran Shonin, who was busy pursuing his studies. We may revere Eshinni not as Shinran's wife, but because she was rejoicing the Nembutsu path as a woman living in the harsh conditions of medieval Japan. Ruth Tabra wrote two novels. The second one was called The Monk's Wife. If you have a chance, it's a novel, so it's not exactly true, but I think we get a good feeling of what it was like for Eshinni growing up during those times. It was during the 1980s that Ruth Tabra began to research about Shinran Shonin, and in that process she realized that he couldn't have done things all by himself, so he needed a helpmate, and that was Eshinni. For him to be able to accomplish all that he did, After all, someone had to oversee the running of the households. Someone had to take care of the children, and it was the income from lands that Eshinni owned in Echigo and Kanto that supported the family and enabled Shinran to devote himself to writing and spreading the teachings that we have today. Actually, we don't know very much about Eshinni until her letters to her daughter Kakushinni were discovered in 1921. This discovery led to questions about who Eshinni was. What were her struggles? What were her strengths? Lady Otani traveled through the route to find out some answers for herself. She researched different areas, and I'll show you some of those in a slide program afterwards. Lady Otani's book. This is her book. There's a picture of a room that Shinran and Eshinni lived in, and you could see other monks came to listen to him. And in fact, Lady Otani's book was honored 10 years after she wrote it, and it was honored at a European conference of Buddhists, and it ended up being translated from Japanese, actually into English by Reverend and Mrs. Taitetsu Uno and other languages from people who were able to deal with the book. Lady Otani encouraged Ruth to write about Eshinni because there was so little available to read in English. She urged Ruth to show Eshinni's human side. So if you read this book, you'll really see what she was like. And I don't think it was made up, but Eshinni left Kyoto and returned to Echigo when she was older, maybe in her late 70s, because according to the book, it said she had an argument with Shinran because she found out that he had had a child with a genin who is like a slave kind of person, and she was so upset that she said she never wanted to see him again. So when you think about that, you go, she's very human indeed, you know. Eshinni has a memorial garden in a place called Yonematsu, and that's where a five-tiered stupa is located, and she designed it herself. There's also a magnolia tree there, which is more than 600 years old. The white magnolia, you could see one on the altar, is the symbol of Eshinni-sama. The Monk's Wife was published by the Buddhist Study Center Press in 2001. 3 years later, Lady Otani actually passed away. Oh, I'm sorry, Ruth Tabra passed away. Eshinni is one of the most important women in Japanese Buddhist history. So I hope you will have a chance to read the book, The Monk's Wife. It is so believable and moving, and we can relate to Eshinni on a very human level. Both Eshinni and Ruth Tabra lived their lives, which included both joys and sorrows, to the fullest with the Nembutsu in their hearts. You know, it was a long and perilous journey from Echigo to Kanto, crossing over mountains, not able to cross when it was wintertime, when there was so much snow. But finally she was able to take her family and accomplish that. This is a quote from one of the Nembutsu followers in The Monk's Wife. It says, Nembutsu enables us to see the truth of ourselves and of things as they are. No matter how hopeless we are, no matter how deluded and ignorant, whether we know it or not, we are all in the grasp of boundless compassion. So we see that through her letters, according to James Stoppen, who wrote the letters of the nun Eshinni, through her letters we know that the Nembutsu guided the life of a real living person with daily cares, taking care of her children and grandchildren, keeping the family fed in times of difficult harvest, mending clothes and living apart from her husband who was busy pursuing his studies. We may revere Eshinni not because she was the wife of Shinran, but because she was able to rejoice in the Nembutsu path as a woman living in the harsh and difficult conditions of medieval Japan. Author Jeff Wilson, in his book Buddhism of the Heart, states that although Shinran is cited as the founder of the Hongwanji school, he did not intend to create a new school of Buddhism. Rather, 10 years after his death, it was through the efforts and hard work of his younger daughter, Kakushinni, who was Shinran's caregiver until he passed away at the age of 90. She was instrumental in establishing Shinran's gravesite at the Otani Memorial in Kyoto as a place for Jodo Shinshu Buddhists to gather in remembrance of their teacher. In fact, she is considered the true founder of Hongwanji, just as Eshinni is truly the co-founder of Jodo Shinshu. He also explains how both Eshinni and Kakushinni have been overlooked in the role they played in promoting Shinran's teachings. Jeff Wilson also says, these two women played a significant role in Shinran's life. Eshinni having the faith and the will to endure exile to Echigo, as well as supporting him financially, and Kakushinni, who cared for Shinran in his final years. It was Kakushinni's devotion and hard work that sowed the seeds for Hongwanji to become a major force in Japanese history. So we honor who they are and the legacy they have given to us. Reverend Richard Tennis, who was formerly a Betsuin minister, says in April we celebrate Eshinni and Kakushinni Day. This is a very important observance, a time to celebrate not only the two most important women in Shinran Shonin's life, his wife Eshinni and his daughter Kakushinni, but also to remember that these two women were truly co-founders with Shinran Shonin of the Jodo Shinshu Buddhist tradition. In fact, they are perhaps two of the most important people, male or female, in the history of Hongwanji. They supported and primarily made it possible for Shinran to devote himself fully to the task of sharing Amida's great compassionate aspiration with us. Also, Eshinni and Kakushinni Day is an opportunity to celebrate the true equality of women and men in Buddhism. And now, let's see some slides, okay. I selected these from things I had taken when in 2017 I joined a church group, a Hongwanji group, and some of them are from other resources. So this is Eshinni and Kakushinni. Their pictures are on the altar. This is a map of that part of Japan. You can see Kyoto listed at the bottom. The dotted line eventually was how the family went, and then they returned to Kyoto. The blue line, I don't think you can see the distinctions, but one is when Shinran went up to the eastern coast, then he had to take a boat to Kota Beach, and the weather and it was quite rough, and so this is a picture of what it looked like when he arrived. On this very spot in 1207, he arrived here because he was banned from following the Nembutsu tradition of the time of Shinran Shonin. So the seas were quite rough and it was cold. So this is what they had to deal with. It took them several days to get to this point. There is a plaque there, and the translation, well, it explains how Shinran's journey was tough, but it was for the benefit of sharing the teachings of the Nembutsu. This is a wonderful colored picture of Shinran on the right and Eshinni in the middle. This is where he studied and stayed when he was in Echigo. This is taken from an old scroll that's in one of the other temples in the area. And this is the gate to enter the residence at Inada. And this is the path to get to that gate. This is the altar area in Eshinni's garden, memorial garden, in a place called Yonematsu. You can see on the right side the tall 5-tiered pagoda, which was designed by Eshinni herself. This is the former Bishop Eric, who was one of our leaders, along with Reverend Hasebe, who guided us along this very interesting and educational tour. At the time, this was the Eshinni Memorial Hall, and this is another picture of the stupa in the back, the 5-tier stupa, as well as the altar area. And there is a blossoming cherry blossom, or it could be a plum blossom, I'm not quite sure, in the back that you can see. And that's a etched picture of Eshinni in concrete. And this is a statue of Shinran Shonin that is in front of the memorial hall. It says, it's very interesting, the translation. It really says how to spread the wonderful teachings of the Buddha. That was Shinran Shonin's challenge. Whether in this world or the next, may the journey be one of peace. May the path be one of ease. And may the Buddha Dharma spread far and wide. Kind of sounds like the similar theme that we had several years ago of Annon, when they celebrated the 250th anniversary here and in Japan. The next picture is the countryside. It was quite beautiful and not populated as far as big cities are concerned. This is inside the memorial, the altar area. So on either side, well, the large picture in blue and white are the magnolia blossoms, which are also on either side of the altar. This is a current photo of the museum. It was added some years back, maybe in 2021, I'm guessing. And this is another view of the altar. And to give you an idea of what one of Eshinni's letters was like, this is letter 10, her last letter to Kakushinni. And, various scholars have tried to translate it. Sometimes it's varied, but you could see how it must have been very difficult. Plus, if you think about, she didn't have electricity there. So sometimes she'd say, I'm running out of light, so I'm not sure if you'll be able to read my message That's how conditions were back in medieval Japan. I'd like to end my talk today with a quote from a book called Memoir of a Buddhist Missionary. It's by Shigeo Kikuchi. It says, "To spread the Dharma is essentially the mission of each Buddhist by sharing the truth of enlightenment with others. In Shin Buddhism, the mission is neither intrusive or aggressive. It is quietly natural way of conducting one's life, relating to others, and doing whatever possible in however small way to help, to make this turbulent world a pure land, a realm of enlightenment, peace, and joy, with no discrimination, no distinctions, no prejudice, no violence or exploitation, aggression, or suppression, by carrying on the working of Amida's vow, in which wisdom and compassion is realized as the fundamental basis of all existence." Please join me in Gassho. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you for listening to my stuttering too. Sorry.
Thank you, Barbara, for reminding us of the importance of Eshinni and Kakushinni, and more generally, the importance of women. If you are able, please rise for the Gatha, Becoming Free, found in the Praises of the Buddha book on pages 30 and 31. And then continue to stand for the Gatha Nembutsu, found on page 145 of the same book.
Vanamanda, 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 Vanamanda.
Please be seated. Thank you for attending today's service. We will now have announcements by our temple president, Dennis Tashiro.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for attending today. That's a big crowd. Thank you, Barbara, for that message about our two favorite ladies in the Hongwanji. Thank you, Reverend Shingo, for officiating today's service. Thank you, Lisa, for being our MC. So versatile, MC and piano. And thank you, Joy, for playing the piano. Thank you, David, for being our greeter. And thank you, Cookie, for ringing the Kansho. We have a guest today, Eileen Yoshino. She's a friend of Barbara for years. Welcome. And she's also a friend of Ed Nemoto there. Welcome. And for the first time I met Erin and Greg. They recently have started attending, so welcome. Good to see you. All right, next Sunday will be our monthly remembrance service. So if you would like to remember a loved one who passed away in the month of April of any year, you may do so during the remembrance service. Please add the name to the loved one to the list that will be on the greeter's desk. If you have a picture of your loved one, please bring it to the service. Reverend Charlene Kihara of Hawaii Betsuing will be the officiant and speaker. Our spring food drive to support the Hawaii Food Bank ends today. To all of you who have made contributions, thank you very much for your generosity. Now, Prudence has a couple announcements.
Good morning. I wanted to explain the table back there. And this month we also have, Earth Day. And I had asked people to contribute anything that you repurpose or in any way try to save the earth to share it with us today. So there's a couple from, I think Roy contributed some and so did Cynthia. I just wanted to say that, we all have to do what we have to do to save this earth. If we are all interconnected, we pollute the earth as not intentionally, but there are billions of tons of waste that go into the ocean and into the earth. And most of all, I'm trying to focus on things that don't disintegrate very easily, and it's plastic. So, and I intended to make a booklet of all the things that we do to try to save the earth. But it's hard to make a booklet when I don't have that much contribution. But for those of you that told me what you do, I do appreciate it. So I'll tell you some of the things I received. Using the comic section for newspaper as gift wrap, especially for children. Use old magazines to make origami paper. Reusing small plastic containers to store small items. Freeze water in clean empty milk containers and use them to keep your coolers cold. Using empty jars or containers to discard grease. Some people still make homemade vinegar window glass cleaner, and they use the same spray bottle. So that's one less spray bottle. Every time you empty one that you buy from the store, you don't necessarily refill it. You go out and buy another one. And what happens to the old one? It goes into the landfill. And that's what I was encouraging. I would like to encourage all of us, even in our daily practice, not only to repurpose, but watch what you buy. I remember the days when we were young, that all the laundry detergent came in cardboard boxes. Then came the advent of plastic, and now we buy gallons of liquid detergent. And where do they go? So I just want to kind of make us aware of where all of these things go. One of the worst things that we've been using is this clear cling wrap plastic. They're so easily go into the ocean, and just imagine all of our fishes and other animals in the ocean are eating that, and it's not very digestible. But I heard that there is one company that is making those that are, what do you call that? Biodegradable, that's the word. So even that is coming. So I think that before plastic, I think we were much more kind to our planet. But ever since we discovered plastic, there's so much going on. So, I read somewhere that says that the reason plastics don't deteriorate is the way that they're made, that the atoms are linked to one another, that it's hard for when you put it in the ground, those earthworms and things like that, they can't digest it. Whereas if you throw cardboard into the ground, they'll eventually eat it. And so if we try to think this way, it might help us. Let's see. So in the back, there are several items and things that people contributed to see what they do to recycle or repurpose things. So please take the time to look at it. And just remember, we're all interdependent. We keep saying that, and the earth also depends on us. So please, let's see what we can do to save it. Thank you.
Thank you, Prudence. Yeah, Earth Day is actually April 22nd, so that's like 3 days, I think Wednesday. So I'm sure you're going to see it in the news or something, but try to be conscious and do a little bit. Every little bit helps. As part of Earth Day, we annually plan a cleanup along Kool-Aid Road. So we typically gather, pick up trash, and we will be doing this Saturday, May 9th, and it'll be from 9 o'clock. We usually end about an hour and a half. Some years people seem to be more diligent, and we only find a few bits of rubbish, but some years are worse. Prudence is also collecting gently used children's and adult book to benefit the Wamanalo Emergency Shelter. So there's a couple boxes back there. If not today, she's also collecting next Sunday. Okay. Let's see. Okay, now I call on Joyce.
Good morning. One of our community projects is the Kailua Service Care events, and this organization helps the homeless in Kailua by providing monthly hot meals as well as various services to help them. And we're agreed to do this once a year, and this is our month to provide bentos and snack packs. And on Sunday next week, Cynthia is coordinating the organization of the snack packs. So anyone, this will be after Sunday service. Anyone who will be able to help would be appreciated. Then on Tuesday, April 28th is when the event is going to be happening. We have volunteers already signed up to help prepare 50 chili hot dog bento lunches. This will be assembled. Here we start at 7 a.m. on the 28th. And then they'll be delivered to the Daybreak Church on Pali Highway by 9:15 or 9:30, and where we'll serve the lunches as well. And this month is the event's 100th monthly event, and there will be a special celebration for the guests and the volunteers who help the organizations that support this event. And this is also our 7th year of participation of this event. And the event ends about noon. Thank you.
Thank you, Joyce. Cynthia also has a message.
Good morning. Just a friendly reminder, we are starting to collect rummage items for our upcoming rummage sale that's being held at our Bon Dance in July. So we already received quite a bit of items, but we're welcoming a lot more items. Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you, Cynthia. We are ordering new polo shirts for the temple. The last time we had polo shirts, it was almost 7 years ago. And so on the back table, I have a sign-up sheet and also a picture of what it would look like and the actual sample shirts, so you can take a look at that as well. We're going to be selling the shirts at a discounted price. For members, it'll be $15. Members and their spouses, partners, whatever. But for non-members, it'll be $20. So take a look at the sign-up sheet. We'll get them ordered. We'll probably get it sometime next month. Okay. And if you have any questions, please come see me. Are there any other announcements? Oh, Bob.
I received a book last week titled Making Belief by George Tanabe. This was on between April 5th on the Hanamatsuri was on the table, and Prudence got 2 of them. So come see me and you can borrow, and I'll sign you out. And then when you finish, return to me and I will log you in and I'll put it back. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Okay, if there's no other announcements, it's time for refreshments. Let's say the words of thanksgiving that'll be on the screen. We are truly grateful for this wonderful food, a gift of life. May we share its benefits with all beings. As we partake of this food, let us remember Amida Buddha's compassion, which surrounds all people and all forms of life. Namo Amida Butsu. Itadakimasu. Thank you, everyone.